Bonjour, I am Cendrine, the founder and leader of the Golden Age Spiritual Ministry. Together, we learn about the embodiment of our multidimensionality so we can reclaim our full sovereignty in this beautiful reality. My High Council and I are happy to welcome you into our movement of spiritual revolution. Please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new transmissions. Thank you for liking, commenting below and sharing this video. Show us your love. And welcome everyone to this session of Eeria School of Channeling, and this is part of our Galactic Module. And we are going to go deep today in learning how to co-create with beings of our planetary system, the sun beings. And I'm very excited because these beings have been co-creating with them just on and off, honestly, over the last few years. And every time I'm in the vortex, every time they come, every time they share things with me, it's like, this is absolutely phenomenal. And as we know, there's been a lot of solar flares, a lot of galactic activities happening throughout the entire planet. And so therefore, we felt that it was a very good time for us to actually share with you some of their messages regarding what is really going on behind the scene of what we already know, or even what people say out there, by channeling them. So by bringing them and sharing what they have to say about what's going on, why is the sun so active, and why is it going to continue being this active over probably a decade with like more exacerbated levels or less. But generally speaking, it's just going to be absolutely phenomenal what we are going to receive from the sun beings today. This is extraordinary what's going to happen today, because you are also going to learn how to expand your channeling abilities to a degree that allows you to welcome new galactic beings, new beings of the light that you might not have co-created with before, and that might be, I would call them like ambassadors. You know, like for me, the sun beings, and it could be different for you, of course, depending on the configuration of your high council of light and who you co-create with. But for me, for example, the sun beings, they kind of like, they come and go. So they would come as a special team and they would share a few activation, cosmic surgery, and some teachings, and they would leave. And so it's always like this with them. And so the really profound experience that as channelers we can have by having the ability to witness a collective of beings, or even like one being or one ascended master coming into our field for specific training, is really life-changing. Because when that happens, it means that we have the opportunity to turn our focus to really being very present with these beings for the time being, because if they come, it's for a very specific reason that most of the time relates to what's happening now. So these beings that kind of like come and go from our high council, when they come and visit, it's for a specific reason, a specific purpose, and linearity is actually of relevance most of the time, because they come for specific dynamics that are happening on a planetary level, as well as, of course, on an individual level and on the level of the community that we are here to serve. So this is a really powerful pathway of expanding our channeling abilities to be able to perceive that there are shifts. So how do we perceive that there are shifts happening in our high council and that new beings are coming? Because we can feel it energetically, because we are channels, right? So we can feel that energetically. We might receive direct messages like, hello, I am here. I'm from the sun, you know, I'm from this star system or whatever. Or they can come into meditation. At times it can be more subtle. So again, if our human life takes over in terms of busyness, and then we don't really have a lot of time for space, like cultivating space, relaxation, meditation, contemplation, then if we are not in silence, it's a lot more challenging, obviously, to connect and to perceive these subtle shifts happening in frequency. So remember, cultivate time and spaciousness. It can be as simple as when you drive in the car between one place to another, don't listen to music, you know, just be with yourself, just be with your thoughts, because it could come then, like same in the shower, maybe that's the only moments that you have at times, you know, to be alone with your thoughts, alone with your heart. So just take a moment to breathe and create the space needed to say basically, I'm connected. And remember my favorite tip, to connect in the morning as you allow yourself to sleep in through the snooze effect of the button, you know, like snooze, and then we recalibrate, we are in the theta, a brainwave frequency. And so it means that we are super open. It's very powerful to manifest. It's very powerful to connect with a high council of light, to receive guidance. So also in the morning, as you wake up, you can kind of like stay in this half asleep, you know, subliminal state and perceive if there is any difference, if there are any messages coming for you. And of course, it happens also at night, the theta brainwave. It can be more challenging because a lot of us would be really tired. And so basically we hit the pillow and then we feel this window opening, and then we doze off, and then we don't remember the day after. But it is also highly beneficial. So we are sharing this with you because today's transmission is also part of one of the, how can we say, the pillar of the Golden Age spiritual ministry. And this pillar is only occasionally activated. And this pillar comes from sharing with the world about what is happening on a planetary and on a galactic level. You might have noticed that I haven't done that in a long time. It often occurs during big portal, and it's always under the guidance of my high council, because this pillar of speaking about what's happening astrologically, like oracular prediction, is simply not a pillar that is really activated and that we need to activate it. We want to activate within the Golden Age spiritual ministry. We are more focused on, you know, speaking about empowerment, freedom, and multidimensionality. But every now and then, there's so many things that are happening. It's like, okay, so we need to share this with the world. But most of the time, the messages that I personally receive regarding the transition of humanity into high level of consciousness and so on, I keep to myself. And it's not because it's selfish, no, it's because I keep it to myself, because it's not going to help anyone to know about that. If anything at all, it could create a lot of stress and anxiety and like problematics, because there need to be like a whole codex shared around what is really happening, you know. So today's transmission is very anchored into this pillar of, as a channel, at times we feel the need to connect with everyone out there to receive the messages that we are here to share. And so in Eeria School of Channeling, it is important to more and more refine your art, to be able to perceive the different messages, the different frequencies, and how they connect to certain groups of people. So certain messages, they are meant to be received by everyone. And so messages, they are meant to be received only by your private client, your direct students. Sometimes it's only by yourself. Sometimes messages will come only for one person or two persons. And so it's important to ask your heart and to perceive the frequency and to ask yourself the question, is this message that is so exciting or like so revolutionary or so life-changing, is this message actually meant to be shared with other people? Because if the answer is no, we need to honor that, because there is always like a time and a space, and a lot of the time as channels, and as we learn in Eeria to really grow more and more our capacity to receive very high frequency messages, we are going to receive messages that we first need to receive ourselves. So the frequencies coming can activate dormant memories within us. They can activate alchemical transmutation. So if we have density, some density is cleared, we can vibrate at a high level of frequency. The crystalline divine genome present within us can come more to life. So a lot of the time when you will connect to your high council on these visitors coming, you will perceive, oh, actually, it is for me. And this always, they say, always start that with, it is for me. And as it is for you, you open to receive. And so you receive. And sometimes it can be within a few days. Sometimes it's going to take weeks. Sometimes it's going to take years. There might be a moment where the itch to share that message rises and you think about it and you receive more precision around the download. It's like, oh, this is so life-changing. People need to know. When that movement inside you happens, it means that you are really integrating what you have received, and that by sharing with others, you are going to ground this frequency on the planet. So remember, as multidimensional channels, it is not only about opening up to receive the messages, it is mostly about refining the art of speaking those messages to the world. Who receives what and when? And your heart, your high council, your soul, you know that. And they say, do not worry, because there is no such thing as a mistake. If you were to, for example, receive massive downloads and straight away the day after you there on Instagram, you know, blasting it to the world, they say it's not going to be apocalypse day. You're not going to kind of, you know, miss your purpose and be a horrible person. No. They say it's simply like the message might not be received and you might feel very fried, and people who receive it might be a little bit like, what the hell is happening here? So the lack of refinement will make it like more like unrefined growth package, if you want. But they say, don't worry. It's just as you learn to perceive the way you co-create with those, literally those messages that you are channeling, you will perceive how they are being spoken into reality, into the world, through the sound of your own voice. Because remember that once you receive the messages, when you are present with them, when you really are with them fully and you allow them to be present in your body, there is another level of embodiment that comes after that, and it comes when you share that, because there's this quote that says it all. It's like, when you teach, you learn twice. And here I would say, like, when you speak out loud, you learn twice, because you might know in your head, in your mind, you think, oh, I know what it means and so on. But as you're going to start speaking using the sound of your voice, you're going to go into this trance state. It does not have to be like full-on trance channeling. It can be any stage of like being more of this mild trance state, and you will hear yourself speaking more and more and more into the depth of the messages that are being channeled through you, because you will realize that the upgrade, the messages that you first received, that first initiated you, were really the tip of the iceberg to help you recalibrate on a multidimensional level, also with your nervous system, with your inner being, with your body, help recalibrate. So at that point in the future, like one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, and so on, that point in the future, you will be ready to receive more of the juice of this transmission, more of the like, oh yes, this is really what this transmission is all about. And as you speak these words, it's going to be like, oh, and like, this is literally when we are in the channeling mode. It's like, oh my God, what I share, it's like what we share is so clever, it's so amazing, you know, so wise, wow. I'm epic, you know. And it's like, okay, stay focused, because the human can, you know, the human is very good that the human gets excited with that, you know, because it really anchors the fact, the objective fact that you are nailing, that you're nailing your channeling journey, you know, that you're really anchoring that. So, you know, allow yourself to feel very proud, very excited when basically the vortex gets opened, because you have, you know, the voice activated around those messages. And again, you can use as a medium, you can use astrology, you can use plant medicine, you can use tarot, you can use human design. There is anything can come as well as a platform that supports what it is that you are sharing. You weave your art in, you know, like painting and singing and playing music or whatever that is. So we felt it was really important to share this first message with you, so you can, here in Eeria School of Channeling, continue deepening the art of channeling and realize how multi-layered it is, how the more you actually, you know, join here live and watch all the replays, the more you are really involved and committed and devoted to your journey as a multidimensional channel, the more layers come to life and the more precision, the more clarity, and therefore more joy and peace and clarity and unity consciousness, as well as inner power. You can feel, you know, all of this, like, wow, you know, it's like the world is freaking epic. And the sun beings are very much there for that. So the transmission today, we want to share that this transmission that we are recording now is going to be shared with the world. Yes, so it's going to be shared with the world outside of Eeria School of Channeling, not the activation, okay? Because activation needs to stay within the grid of Eeria, because again, there's a lot of a support that happens energetically there. But the message of the sun being is a message that they say now everybody needs to receive. And because it is first year within the grid of Eeria, there is this beautiful kind of like, it's a cocoon of light that is present, because this is the highest frequency program that, you know, we have in the Golden Age Spiritual Ministry, and it means that it is very refined. The art of it's like healthy containing of this frequency is fully activated here. Okay, great. So I'm just gonna start channeling the sun beings. Just give me a moment. Let's see how to do it, how they come. Excellent. No, Joey. We stay calm. Great. So we are very happy today to be able to channel for you these messages that are coming from the sun beings. And we would love to invite you first to receive this, to take 3 deep breaths with us. So this breath is going to help us harmonize the nervous system, connect to the heart, and slow the mind down. So we would love to invite you to practice the breath where we inhale from the bottom of the spine to the heart and pause, and then we continue inhaling from the heart to the crown of the head and pause. We're going to focus on the crown of the head and exhale deeply. Exhaling deeply, bringing the awareness back to the bottom of the spine, and then we start again. Okay? And as you do that, simply invite your body to relax. So let's exhale deeply all together. And focus on the bottom of the spine and start inhaling all the way to your heart and pause into the heart. Then continue inhaling from the heart all the way to the crown of the head and pause. Focus on the crown of the head and exhale deeply. And again, inhale from the bottom of the spine all the way to the heart. Pause, head and pause. Stay focused there. Exhale deeply. And one more time in your own rhythm. Inhale. Inhale. And exhale deeply. And come back to your natural breath. Just breathe slowly from your heart center. Observe the sensations in your body. Allow the mind to be soft and gentle. Now, as we start this transmission, the Sand Beings are inviting you to perceive them around you, and you perceive them in any way, shape, or form. You could perceive that there is a golden light, like a solar light, all around you, even within you. You might perceive a beautiful winged being. Or maybe you feel that the rays of the sun are gently touching your skin and the space around your body. You will notice that there is a solar connection, different than usual. It is very present here for you now. And as you are a sovereign being of the light, we would love to invite you to say a few words within the intimacy of your heart about your readiness to open yourself up to receive whatever messages within the messages that we share, whatever frequency shift, gift is present here for you during this transmission. Yes, I accept, I receive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And you can open your eyes when you're ready. What we would like to share with you now, dear ones, is that we are in great excitement around what is happening for you in humanity, because the beings present in the sun, who are they? Do you want to describe first? So as we perceive the fire around the sun, we think, humans would think that there is no life that can exist there, but they say we do not live in the fire, we live on the planet. So it is very much as you would look at the clouds in the sky. The clouds are in the sky, they are not on the planet. Well, at times they are when there is fog, but it is a little bit that. So the planet is not full of fire in itself, it's just the atmosphere that's around it. That is the sun that is being created as the center force of this current universe here that we are, this planetary system that we are in right now. So the sun can send the light out, send the heat out to help create life in all of the other planets. And so they say that a lot of tradition, culture, and legends have used the terms divine mother for the home planet, for Gaia, and the sun would be the representation of the father. And they say, in a way, it is very well explained, because if we were to go more into the understanding of the sacred dynamic of divine masculine and divine feminine, the sun can be felt as the divine feminine father, divine masculine father figure that is present to ignite and to activate. And so therefore there is this power that comes from when we connect to sun beings, to solar frequency, when the sun is very active, when there's lots of solar flare coming. It is like a force of creation in a way that is punchy. Let's get out there. There's a lot of action, there is a lot of momentum. And they said it's also important to remember that the divine masculine father figure also has a lot of grounding, nurturing, protective presence. So it is very much the patriarch at the the highest level of frequency we can think of, that is looking at his entire family with so much love and kindness and pride, and also he would not let anything happen to to his family members, to his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, as well as his community. He is present to oversee the wealth, the well-being, the health, the joy of the family, and his greater pleasure and his joy and his success in his life is to see everyone around flourish. So he will know that the destiny has been fulfilled if the people that he's responsible of are thriving. And they say we share this with you because our realm, the sun in itself, the sun beings are very coded with that. We are coded with Tanvis at the highest through everything that we have shared. So we oversee and we see the different planets of this solar system, emerging from a state of chaos, and then life grows. And everything that we do is we bath these realms with our light, with our unique codes, with the key codes, which we are going to talk more about that. And like our greatest joy and the fulfillment of our destiny comes from being a guiding light that is there to help the one we are responsible of in a way to find the light themselves. So during an ascension process happening within the solar system, the central sun of that solar system has a lot of a responsibility. So basically, like the sun is like full on mission activated. It's like, yeah, like, and the frequency of the central sun is really focused on activating, the inhabitant of planet Earth. And what they say is that they are continuously in telepathic connection as well as interdimensional travel connections with the Earth consciousness and the inner beings of the Earth. So they say we have many, we would say like colleagues, colleagues in the Earth realm. So many beings that are within the inner Earth, as well as people, humans and other creatures. Many of these beings are actually really connecting with the sun to say, okay, this is what's happening right now. We need more of this formula from the sun. This is what's happening right now. We need more of that formula from you. And so there is a constant network of information that happens from the earth to the sun and from the sun to the earth. So the earth is speaking. It is very much like a child, or even if you're not a child, like an adult going to their father and say, like, I need you for this, I need you for that. And yes, the father figure in all his divine embodiment will be happy to provide protection, but also cuddles, like adventures. Let's go out in the wilderness together. Let's be silly together. A lot of, like, of course, unconditional love, admiration, encouragement, but also can provide money, can provide a shelter, can provide, encouragement. So the sun provides through the masculine frequency, and the earth provides through the feminine frequency. And of course, both of them are also highly integrated beings to start with. It's just that the emanation of their essence shows more through these unique configuration in their current lifetime, but they are both integrated beings that can easily weave with one another, as they have also integrated the other polarity. But they say, the sun beings, they say, we share this with you because, as within this school of channeling, and as people who are going to receive this message on a larger scale, as you are embracing the pathway of ascension, as you are awakening, as your consciousness is increasing, therefore more and more, what you realize is that everything is interconnected. And you might know that, but do you really know that? It's like the consciousness of human is still very limited, and it is not a critic, it is an observation. And of course, humans' consciousness are increasing, amplifying, getting bigger and bigger very fast at the moment. So the consciousness of your current human now is so much more expanded than the human that you were a year ago, 10 years ago, at the beginning of this life. And it is a very small level of consciousness compared to the consciousness that you will have as a future human self. So they say that the solar flares are very present to help it's like the expansion of the human consciousness, and the grounding of this consciousness happen through the earth. So they say, okay, so there's a lot of information coming to give it. very excited. It's like where to go. Yes, so pretty much when a solar flare happens, it's like a lot of so they say, okay, let's go all the way to the beginning. So the beginning, Earth needs a certain formula, like an elixir, for example, because Earth perceives that humans are not embodying, for example, we would say embodying connection, embodying unconditional love, embodying freedom and abundance, like a four primal code as we talk a lot. But let's say like the Earth perceive, okay, like humans, they're still not getting that they need to be more connected, they need to be more loving, and so on. So we need some unique elixir or like a solar flare from the sun that's gonna come and that's gonna blast humanity with this, and that we need. And so what happens is that they are going to send that to the sun beings, and the sun beings, they go into their realms, and what they do is that they gather as gigantic communities. And here we can see like it's literally all around the sun. You have different communities gathering, and each community sounds. So it's like sounding, chanting, singing, as well as moving their body in a very specific way. And so as they do that, they connect telepathically to the earth, to humanity, to what it is that we need, so they can create through their songs and their own unique magic. They can create this huge vortex that's actually connecting the energies together, and from the quantum field and the matrix of their own realm, they can create this kind of like big light code. And then these light codes, as it gets created by the sun beings of a certain community, for example, a community, they could connect to the code of connection, and as a community they just feel the connection between all living beings, between them and the earth, between them and the humans, between all of them. And there's this unique code of connection that comes, which is a key code. It's like a codex in itself, so it has many different flavors and field of information within that code. And as this thing, all of this information gets gathered at the center of the circle, and then what happens is that the sun is going to send them through solar flares. So the sun collects all of these light codes that are created from around its own realm, and it brings all of this together. It's like, okay, let's get ready, 3, 2, and blasting the earth, and then phew, it gets sent towards the earth through these very powerful solar flares. And the solar flares are going to happen around the sun in different positions. Why? Because it represents a certain formula, a certain elixir. So when it comes from here, it's more about this. When it comes from here, it's more about that, and so on. And so what's been happening is that now it's been foreseen. So the sun, the earth, and humanity, like basically it is known that what is happening right now has been in preparation for a long time. So there is a lot of like light codes that are ready to go. So they say, imagine like a factory, in humanity, you have like all of these packs of cereals present, and they're just ready to be sent. And like people were just making these cereals while, and then now it's like, oh, time to ship the cereals so kids can eat them in the morning. They say it's very much that the sun has been very active over decades to prepare many different codexes of light codes, and each light code being mini codexes. So now it can just go like this, again and again and again. And they say, yes, it is blasting the earth because we have prepared for this, we are ready for this, and the time has come. And so a lot of these light codes, again, we can perceive them, and you can channel these light codes. You can see their structure. You can see there's a line here, a dot here, a swirl here, and you can literally, close your eyes and then take a few breaths, connect to the sun, and then you draw them. You draw them on a piece of paper. And as you draw them on a piece of paper, what can happen after? Sit in meditation in front of it. Perceive where it's going in your body. Perceive the frequency. What do you say to me? Why are you here? What is this light code about? Is this coming just for me? Or is it coming for a lot of people? What is there anything that I need to share with others about this light code, or is it just, literally for my own growth? So this is something that you can play with. You can play with feeling the sunbeams, feeling the sun. You can even feel the rays of the sun on your face and on your body and perceive light codes come like this, because there's so many of them. It's like, billions and billions of light codes blasting the earth, because every time there's like a light code, it comes within your body. And so what happens is that this light code has a very specific flavor. So for example, we could say, like the earth would say, so here we're just gonna give like rough numbers, just for the concept to be understood, because it's very high frequency, it's challenging to explain in words. But basically it's like, okay, so 1,000 people, they need to have 90% of connection, 50% of joy, and then 4% of resilience, and then like the rest of the person needs to be like surrendering. And so like 1,000 light codes with this exact formula. And so they come and they are blasted like that. And so through the principle of quantum resonance, this law of attraction, these light codes will be, ooh, who is exactly matching this blueprint? All of these people around the planet, and it gets directed like that because we attract it. Then it is our responsibility to be open to receiving that. So does everyone receive all the light codes the same way? No, of course not. It depends of the consciousness of the person saying this, they say. It does not have to be someone who is literally super spiritual to receive this light code. It is simply someone whose soul has said yes to receiving them. So the human might be really, really far down the rabbit hole of, we would say, like enslaved life in the low 3D matrix system, that they can still receive the light code because it is a match. And their soul is like, yes, please bring it on, these humans ready to wake up. And they say that actually a huge portion of the solar flares that are coming to planet Earth, and so this is a very important news, is that the vast majority of the code share, it is for mass awakening. So it is literally going to target people that haven't awoken yet, but are ready. They have had the chance again and again, as we know, there's always a portal, a door. Are you going to walk through that door? Are you going to say yes to having your reality dismantled so you can rebuild it in a new way? Or are you not? And a lot of people have like, no, 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 because they were not ready. As simple as that. But now with this massive solar flare is that it is going to touch people way more than we can anticipate. So it's like the wave of mass awakening is really going to be even more noticeable if we haven't noticed it yet, because I don't know about you, but I have noticed that this massive, massive awakening going on in many different circles. And that the level of conversation that we have now with random people of the street is like freaking next level compared to the level of conversation we have had even 3 to 5 years ago. So trust that these solar flares have the exact formula for people to wake up. Because what do people need to be able to have a spiritual awakening, and also to continue saying yes to expanding their consciousness? A lot of people need nervous system recalibration. A lot of people need to be able to surrender and trust more. Because if humans, and that is the vast majority again, are already dysregulated, in the body, in the psyche, in the nervous system, adrenal system, they have very little capacity for awakening. Awakening is like, it shreds everything apart. It's like, it's very shocking for a lot of people, depending on how the awakening happens. So they say, like, what is happening right now, it's not gonna be that obvious to start with that it is a propelling mass awakening, because what will happen is that people's reality, people's concept of what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is not true, what is real, what isn't real, that is going to be shaken up. And so it's important to, if you receive this message, to realize that even people who already have awoken, it is never an end to it. You know, awakening, it's only the start. There are more and more and more and more levels of awakening or consciousness, because that's the path of spiritual evolution. It continuing to, you know, break down whatever construct is still present and that is preventing us from experiencing the truth of our divinity. So they say, if you think you like, you know, how can we say, if you think like you're off the hook because you've already had these massive awakenings, no, it's coming for you as well. Only you're going to be able to perceive it differently, handle it differently, because you have already gone through that. Especially people here in Eeria and people who receive this message later are usually people that are already on a spiritual path. So you already kind of know, you know, oh, I'm going a lot of undergoing upgrades, cosmic surgery, I need to integrate, so you can look after yourself. So of course, the recommendation is always that. Saying that, and here we want to be really, really open the heart field and to share this. It's going to be very challenging for a lot of people that are going to experience deep traumatic situations. And these deep traumatic situations, they have been planned in a way, or they are happening for the purpose of greater awakening, for the purpose of greater evolution in spiritual empowerment. And unfortunately, within the grids of the lower to the middle realm, that happens through pain. It happens through separation templates. It happens through trauma. And so we can expect, and we might already have noticed, that some people around us or some people out there that we might not be relating with are going through freaking intense experiences. And this is really, really intense. And we know, like, welcome to humanity. But they say, like, it's, yes, of course, the solar flare, ascension process, everything, you know, it's kind of part of that. The bigger picture is always to be able to help every single individual find greater level of love. And so they were saying here, the sun being wants to give practical example. They said that a story recently came into Cendrine's vortex. So me, as I'm channeling this, and this story really shook me to my core. And not only that story, but I also have known of like a friend and another woman I know, like going through a lot of, you know, personal challenges, from getting pregnant, losing baby, and other people traumatic. And so that other particular event involved the tragic death of a very young little human. And it's not related to Cendrine, it's related to Cendrine's sister, so to my sister in Belgium. So it's like, you know, going down the line. But the story was related through my sister. And so much information came as also downloading these messages from the sun beings, and I was crying my heart out hearing this story, because it's one of the most tragic thing that happens in humanity. It's when little people, when children are involved, it's like you can be as spiritual as you want, you know, as embodied as you can. It's just like all of that tends to go out the window, because the depth of the human experience is so profound, is so intense, that there is this pull down into gravity, this pull down into trauma, this pull down into separation. So what they were showing is that through the way that my sister narrated the story, what came was these huge waves of love and connection, and the amount of thousands and thousands of people from completely different communities, different, you know, places, you know, in my home country, Belgium, of everybody coming together, praying together, holding wake for the little child and his family. And they say, like, this is the one thing that people need to hold on to, is the placing the lenses, looking at life from the perspective of that, oh, it is bringing us together. there is more love created, more connection created, because humanity will transition into the new golden age. It is happening. And in there, yes, there will be a lot less of this crazy shit that's happening, right? All of this trauma. It will, like, fifth dimension is pretty much like healing all of that fully and living in unity consciousness. But there is still, you know, processes happening within that dimension, as in all dimensions. But what they're sharing, the sun beings right now, is that as spiritual people, it is extremely important to open up our consciousness, to upgrade ourselves, to be able to have the capacity to guide others, to rise in our leadership, to rise in our courage, to rise in our, to open up our consciousness. And here we ask you to open up your consciousness by welcoming these light codes, welcoming responsibility. As the sun beings were sharing, they are responsible to oversee the ascension, the light quota that are shared with perfect formulas through different planets of this current solar system. They say, for us, the sense of responsibility, it is not heavy. It is not like of low frequency or anything like that. It is our destiny. So there is an invitation to release any pressure, any tension, any low frequency and density attached to the word responsibility in a way that, oh my God, it's exhausting. And if I don't do it, it's going to be the end of the world. No, you know, if we don't do it, if we don't become more, you know, like if we don't open up our vortex to lead more, to be more responsible of others, to guide others, nothing bad is going to happen, you know, like Earth is going to continue ascending, humanity is going to continue ascending, and so on. It's just that you're gonna feel frustrated because you're not a part of it. You know, it's pretty much, you know, drawing this back to you. It's like, well, I should be doing something, kind of thing. So yes, that is really the higher embodiment of responsibility, is to feel like I want to do something. I'm responsible because I have this level of consciousness. I have all of these gifts that I have prepared for this. So now the time has come. So there is literally zero tolerance to have now for any imposter syndrome, procrastination, doubt, resistance. It's like, fuck that. Like literally, like, no, there is no room for that, because my responsibility is to accept more of my own awakening, to say, yes, I am ready to still dismantle, you know, some of my own shadows, some of my own resistances, yes, to awaken more to my own light, to welcome the sun as a guide, you know, like to welcome sun beings if they come and they want to help me, to bring these light codes in. And I say yes to all of that, because through me, other people are also going to be able to receive more effortlessly. And when I speak, when I share, I know that the sound of my voice is going to help me anchor more of me. So if I feel worried and stressed, and if I have doubt about sharing these messages in a new way, because maybe you are comfortable doing things with your friends or one-on-one, but maybe you're not quite comfortable to sit, you know, in front of a bigger audience, or to go live on Instagram, or to share a pre-recorded video on YouTube. But maybe it has been coming in your field. Maybe you have thought about doing it. It's like, oh, you know, like, not sure. They say, when the moment comes, when the impulse, the movement, the desire blossoms into your heart, it is because you are ready to anchor these messages. Remember what we shared: who speaks, you know, receives twice, learns twice, embodies twice. So as you do that, you will know, as you share, and it doesn't have to be like live on Instagram, you know, it can be sharing that to your friends, sharing that to some clients or students. And as you share these messages, you will know very well that the light codes are flowing more powerfully through you, anchoring into the grids of the earth, and therefore rippling all over. Because here they say, it is important to understand the architecture of these dynamics of solar flares, because the sun shoots a solar flare like this. So like we have the sun and it shoots like this, and this solar flare comes like this all the way to the earth. And then what happens is that it comes and it hits the atmosphere, and it opens up and then it wraps the earth like this. And so the earth is completely wrapped, and then poof, it continues like that. So as this happens, it comes in physicality. And as it comes into physicality, what is it? It's light codes. It's in the ether. It's part of the ether, okay? So it is not fully grounded. It is not embodied. It is just literally, you know, if we have an orchard or a veggie patch, and all of this food is out there, but we're like, I'm not going to pick it up and eat it. I'm just going to leave it there. It's like, why? Because if we don't pick it up and eat it, we're not going to receive the nutrients. So to be able to actually bring these solar flares down into the grid of the earth, this happens through humans, creatures, animals, plants. Okay, so plants and animals also receive this influx of light. So the consciousness is increased. Plant medicine, they say, plant medicine are also receiving these light codes. So you can expect to perceive different frequencies coming from plants that you might have been co-creating with for a while, but now the plants that are still in the soil that are receiving all of that are soaking all of these new light. So that when they will be consumed in the future, the effect of these plants might be different, very different, or slightly different. There is a special a formula present in those plants. Okay, so the consciousness of animals are increasing. Some of these codes are there just for dogs, some they are there for the whales, some they are there for, you know, frogs, some they are there. So it's like it's billions of them, right? So when you accept your destiny, when you accept your role, your embodiment of a channel, of a healer, of a ceremonialist, of a Reiki practitioner, whatever art you like to perform, of an artist, when you accept that as simply a method or a tool that you embody so you can share with the world, then you kind of like take your resistances, the imposter syndrome, what is present, out of the equation. It's like it is simply flowing through me, and therefore the earth can receive these light codes because it is through matter, and they are being pulled down by, because we speak what we receive, we write it down, we sing it, you know, we play it, we paint it, whatever comes. And so as that happens, it's like all of these light codes, they go like this, and then the earth goes like and they say it's the masculine penetrating the feminine, and the earth is like is in ecstasy. Oh, it's a long orgasm of the earth. Yes, you know, it's like these light codes are coming because my whole being, which we are a part of, my whole being is saying, yes, I accept this. It's very much like love making between the earth and the sun, and we are simply here to, you know, to connect that, to bring that, so our planet can have this amazing, juicy, you know, electromagnetic orgasm that we therefore receive, and it's like, phew, more love, you know, more ecstasy, more joy, more presence, and everything. So they say humans need a lot of reassurance about the fact that it is going to be all right. And we are going to share more and more about the architecture of this transition happening at the moment, and also death. You know, death, the bigger picture of death, the meaning of death, because once humans really understand how to open up their consciousness and embody more of their multidimensionality, the intensity of the trauma gets diluted in a way. So they said, for example, as Cendrine received this tragic story, which is like a nightmare story, as she receives this, sorry. Sorry about the interruption of the barking dog. So as we connect more through awakened consciousness through our multidimensionality, it allows us to perceive dramatic moment happening into our human life with such a high level of consciousness that it's like having a lot of cushions around us. Before we jump, it's like there's this big gigantic pillow that's there. It's like this cushioning. So of course we still feel, because we are humans, because we are not robots. Okay, so we still feel and we are still present, but we are much more able to hold the feel of unity consciousness and love, to be the guiding light of the community, the parents, the kids, the children, the grandparents, like community as a whole, that is going through whatever traumatic event is happening, because we are the field of the high level of consciousness, we are the field of love. And so even if we are ourselves deeply saddened and traumatized by the event, because we human, we have the capacity to stay anchored in our light and in the field of love, so we can be the beacon of light that we came here to be. And so this is why we're here. We are here to open up our consciousness to a level that allows us to be the embodiment of the Buddha. And the Buddha just sits there, and whatever happens around doesn't shake the Buddha's enlightened presence and love and connection to humans. He can just there shining this field of love. And so therefore anything that is happening within the field of love shown by the Buddha, by the like the more high embodied self, it's like being wrapped around the wings of an angel. So they say that as we are here within Eeria School of Channeling, and for people who also receive this, we are here to really embody more and more of this angelic frequency. So we don't only hold ourselves and awaken our consciousness, but we can also have these wings available when they need to be available. So the intensity of what is happening in humanity to us or to people around gets more and more diluted. So the trauma imprint is not going to destroy the heart of humans and bring them into more of these kind of wheels of karmic reincarnation, where they're going to pass on that trauma from one generation to another into their future lives, but it stays within the current embodied expression, and it can be healed and alchemized. Sometimes it takes a few days, sometimes it takes a few years, sometimes it takes a lifetime. But as it gets more and more surrounded by love and this high level of consciousness, it means that we can pretty much release the traumatic imprint, the frequency imprint from our body much faster. And the solar flares happening right now, they are really shaking things up around that, to say, hold yourself more as the angel that you are. Don't drop the ball, human. The dropping the ball is forgetting our divinity. It is forgetting our love, forgetting our power, forgetting the power of community, of connection, forgetting hope, forgetting faith. They say, don't forget, don't drop the ball. Keep aligning to hope, to faith, to trust, to surrendering, to courage, to empowerment, to vision, to to everything that you are, to your angelic nature. Hold on to that, accept all of the upgrades coming, and continue on your path. You can see that something here. So the invitation is during the solar flares. So they're going to continue happening, right? They're going to continue happening. At times it's going to be like massive ones that are blasting humanity, and at times it's more subtle ones, but it's going to continue amplifying decades, even 2 decades. So they say, simply remember this, because the architecture is what we have explained, right? With the sun beings who chant, who sing, who collect the code, and then it gets sent through the solar flares all the way to planet Earth, and the planet Earth calls it in here. And then the different beings of planet Earth receive these codes and channel these codes in different ways. And then it gets anchored. And as we speak, as channelers, or as we draw, as we dance, or as we sing, our unique expression, creative expression of our divine angelic nature and of the good news of humanity's ascension, all of that gets grounded. And guess what? Ascension happens more and more smoothly as more and more into the embodiment of our angelic nature. So they say that the frequency of the codes are extremely high frequency, but they want to bring a difference between the codes of the sun and codes of other galactic realms, because every code that comes from different realms has a unique frequency. And so they say that the sun, because it is so close to us compared to Sirius or Arcturus, for example, and because this is our central, like the central sun of this solar system, let's say it like this, it is more present, more potent, more felt, by a bigger amount of people. If codes are sent from Sirius, it's going to be like a smaller amount of the population. Here, the codes of the sun, they are blasting everyone, every living frequency, even the rocks, even the sand, like the whole of the earth. Okay. So this is the difference. It's like, it's very potent, very vibrant, and everything, to finish, everything that relates to fire, to sun, can be experienced. So people that are ready to open up their heart and their level of consciousness will receive more creativity, a more empowerment, more connection to their inner power. We could think of the Ra chakra, the third chakra, Ra being the sun, all of that. So if we are basically choosing love as a guiding force, it will be easier for us to receive the fire of creation. If, on the other hand, we are processing and choosing separation and choosing fragmentation of the mind and trauma and polarities, then we might experience more of the burning, of the destruction. And a lot of humanity is going to experience that, because a lot of humanity still vibrates at a level of frequency from the lower to the middle realms. Okay, so they're going to experience more of that burn. So it is unpleasant. As you know, there's a lot more that could be said, but looking at the time and knowing that we have an activation coming, I think it's a good idea now to stop. So thank you very much for receiving this transmission, my Eeria students. Let's take maybe 2-minute break and have the activation.